Hello.
Hi.
Nice to have you here. I'm
Thank
very
you
happy.
very much. Very happy to be here.
Meet you. Thanks for coming. I know you're a mom of how many kids?
Two.
Okay.
Three and 1 year and a half, so they're quite small.
Demanding.
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome, everybody. And I think this conversation is going to be very important for a reason, because we talk a lot about work-life balance and also like productivity, hypergrowth, and at some point, there are some imbalances or things that don't match from what we say to what we do. And one example that is real is that you flew very early in the morning because last night you wanted to put your kids in bed, so one more night sleeping at home, right?
Exactly.
And you are the C-level, the responsible for HR, not traditional way. Now it's Chief Happiness Officer and all those.
People.
Yes,
HR
you know.
people.
I'm making a joke because I like to have fun of those new tags or name tags. But your company has gone from, you were employee less than number 30, and now you have more than 1,000. I don't want to say the exact number because I think soon it's going to be something important around that, right? So how is your vision on that? How did you go from a very early stage company to a plus unicorn that has to hire very fast and looking for a specific impact?
Thank you for this question. I think that there are like several things that we need to work on when we want to scale. And if we step back a minute, so Conto is a French fintech. Originally, we are leader in Europe. Now, when we are offering a business account for professionals, so freelancers and SMEs, if you're professionals, do not hesitate. We have our stand over there. You can talk to the team. And I'm HR, so I'm in charge of people. And I'm exactly what you said. I'm here for 6 years and a half, and the company is actually 7 years old. So I'm here from the very beginning. And I think that the first key point is if you are a founder, if you want to really grow your company, you absolutely need to bet on people. And I think that it's a very strong belief at Conto that you can do nothing without a strong and engaged team, and it's really important. And to do so, you need to have someone who can handle that. Of course, I'm not the only one. We are all involved, managers, founders, the whole leadership team, but I'm here from the very beginning. So when I joined, it was just after the Series A, and I was basically doing everything. And at that time, of course, the challenges I faced were very different to what I have today. You were mentioning we're more than 1,000. We are actually 1,600, and we are across 5 offices. So it's like a huge challenge overall. When I joined, I think that I had like mainly two things. I really wanted to focus on how I can structure all the basics. I think it's really important to give structure, having a work contract well done, having the right tooling everywhere to do the payroll, to do the recruitment, to do everything, and also work on a very important topic, which is culture. Okay. Because candidates and future employees really need to understand who you are. And if they want to join like the adventure overall, they need to really feel they can be part of it and they can grow with you. So we worked a lot on what are our values, how we want to define ourselves as a company, and what really make us not different, because the objective is not to be different, but it's just being honest on who we are. And I think this is something I really worked on very hard with the founders and the team to make sure that we could scale in the future.
Yeah, I think you've touched very important points. I would like to get into them. One is, you got into the company at that point in which everybody knew everybody else's name, right?
Yeah.
And now it's impossible. So to me, one of them is going to be delegate. Now you cannot directly hire everybody. At that point, you need to look for people that you knew they can grow the company. That's one. Then when you say being special, being different, I think it's important to talk about diversity, would be one of the questions. And the other one is that people, now that it's super cool working in tech and fintech and all that, it's attractive. So people want to come and they want perks. And at some point it looks like working for a company looks like an amusement park, right? But at the same time, the title of this session is impact, right? So you need to maximize your time and prioritize and be very clear on their goals, because you don't have all the resources you would like to. You have to go as fast as you can from point A to point B, because that's what your venture capital they support and you expect from you, right? So the first one is going to be about that. How do you structure the company at Series A in order to go from 30 people to more than 1,600 people? How do you build a structure and find those special traits to find that people?
I think that you mentioned several things. I want to stop on one, which is bet on, again, people, and especially the management team. How we can delegate and make sure that we're going to grow over time, because I cannot overview everything and all situations in the company, so I need to have a team working on that and managers overall. And I think that at the very beginning, we knew that it would be super key. So what we wanted to offer was make sure that people can join Conto and have like strong possibilities to grow. And grow, meaning being becoming an expert on their field, but also growing as a manager. So we have like many people that arrived as an individual contributor and they became managers for the first time. And when you do that, because you need to structure, we have like kind of a pyramidal structure. So it's like organization requirement. We need to really invest and make sure that we're going to accompany them. And we do it through training, coaching, like we invest a lot on the management trainings. And we know that if we do not do that, the scale will be very difficult. We need to rely on managers. So that I think it's really important. You mentioned, so I think I can put that into like the culture things, but we worked a lot on the ways of working. I think that you need to ask yourself as a company, how do you want to work together between teams, within the same team, between departments? And then like we know that the challenge that we have currently at Conto is, for example, making sure that the teamwork between departments is also working super well. So we need to make sure that we also build like strong ways of working, and it's under like the umbrella of the culture. We really want to have the right tools, the right way of working that we are sharing across the companies to make sure that we speak the same language, basically, and we can work together. So I don't know, like if we use Notion, I don't know if some of you know Notion. I mean, the whole company is going to work on Notion. That's obvious. We're not going to let people work on several tools. That seems obvious, but it's really important to make sure that you can structure and scale over time. We also have, like, I would say that the third topic, and I think it's much more recent, so it's also important overall to say that you cannot manage everything from day one. So I think that what's interesting is that when I arrived at Conto, I was like, oh, I could work on this, but it was not the priority. So you need to sequence a bit what are the key priorities. And at the beginning, my focus was hiring, and basically like onboarding, how we're going to hire and how we're going to onboard. And you need to have your focus because you cannot be everywhere. And then today we have like very interesting discussions around how we are organized at a company. Should we be organized by function, by product, by country? How does it work, and so on? And these kinds of discussions are like pretty recent because we're getting big, we're getting international, and so we have like to adapt regarding the challenges we have.
Okay, so being different, diversity is important, and I think it's not just a tag. Like understanding different profiles are going to make your company richer, different points of view, and thinking about also your customers. They are not the same. So you work on different geographies too.
Yeah.
So you need to make a product that is pan-European, but also is the right fit for, let's say, Germany, Italy, everywhere where you have the offices. How do you adapt to that? And how do you attract the best talent to make them comfortable into different cultures?
To start, I think that what I want to share with you is that diversity is really interesting, because diversity, we hear a lot about diversity. And like some people really think that it's like we talk too much about diversity, it takes too much weight into the discussions, and we're not focusing on business when we're talking about diversity. It's a really important topic for two reasons. I think the first one is that it really, really helps you to have better teams, so better performance and better results as a company. And second, I think there is no point. Today, people are going to join a company, and they need to understand that you take care of that topic. And diversity is under, again, the umbrella of impact strategy. So at Conto, we need to acknowledge we're not going to save the world. Our business is not going to save the world. But we have a role to play as a company. And we need to ask ourselves, okay, how can I do it smarter and in the best way possible? So we have our sustainability strategy, and we need to work on diversity and inclusion, because making sure that people can be themselves at work, can be appreciated, can be open-minded and so on, will really make them more comfortable and more engaged in the future. So now if we deep dive a bit on the Conto strategy regarding diversity, I think it's important to say that you cannot cover everything, because diversity is really, really, really large topic. It's really broad. So you need to ask yourself, what are the main challenges I face as a company right now? And at Conto, we identified several topics that we really wanted to focus on. The first one was obviously women. Why? Because we're a tech company, we're a fintech industry, so of course it's more difficult to attract women, and like the statistics are still really bad in terms of women leadership and women overall in companies. So we really took this battle very seriously. Also because when I arrived, like the average age was 30 years old, so we also have this topic of parentality. You were talking about my kids. Actually, I grew up at Conto, but I had the chance to have also 2 kids and to continue growing and have my career, and I think that's really important. And so, yeah, we really bet on women at Conto. Today, we are almost 50-50 at Conto, which is great. We are 49%, and we have 43% women in our leadership team. And it's a huge of efforts. And it needs to be, of course, the statement of the company. What is the philosophy, and make sure that everyone is clear on what you want to achieve. But also, like, really little things every day to make sure, for example, and it's going to be very concrete, when you launch a job, making sure you have, like, women and men half-half starting the process at the beginning. So work on your pipeline proactively to make sure that you have women in your pipeline will allow you, the transformation rate will be better on women. So it doesn't mean you do positive discrimination, but you will really do an extra effort to attract women in your pipeline. So for example, my TA team is working on that. So we're doing kind of extra effort. Then we have like partnerships, especially on the tech side with association and so on, to make sure that we can be known, that we can push students to enter the tech field, because it's super complicated. So we have women, but we also have disabilities. And it's pretty new, but we know that there is a huge amount of people in the coming years that are going to be supporting disabled people in their close family. And it's the society where we live in, so we need to understand that and how we anticipate that and how we accompany that again. And of course, you were talking about international, and that's a really important point, and it's also a topic of diversity. At Conto, we have 49% non-French people It's true that we use English every day. Like you have a mix of really diverse team members. We have more than 70 nationalities across the companies. And for that, you need to, like, of course, speak up about the fact that you are a very inclusive environment. We also have 5 offices, so we allow people to work in very different places, and we offer a very flexible environment, meaning that if you want to work remotely, so for the managing director of Spain was telling me that we have 40 people actually working in from Madrid, where we have our offices in Spain, in Barcelona. So, and they are in Madrid, working in Madrid remotely. They're going very often to the office, and it works well. So we need to do this kind of setup environment to make sure that we can attract the very diverse talents.
To me, it's key that you walk the talk, right? Because you can say we are diverse, but then when you like scratch a little bit, then the figures talk by themselves, right? Like 49% women, like different nationalities. And to me, and maybe I'm too tough, when people that like underestimate diversity are those that are all the same. So they are not different and they feel comfortable there and they want to keep that like the castle, right? Like putting a barrier. So I think it's important to talk about that and to talk about that very loud.
But more than that, I remember when we started to discuss about diversity at Canton and women, I was the one also saying, but we don't have any topic. We're the young generation. Of course, we're aware. Of course, we're not going to discriminate. Of course, we don't have topic. And then you look at the figures and you realize that there is a difference between salaries for women and for men. Why? And it's not because of you. It's because like the society made women not negotiating the same way their salaries, and they are like not at the same level as men. So if you want to have like a fair policy, you need to work proactively on that, because you cannot just, no, I'm super open-minded, I have no problem. It doesn't work.
Totally, I do agree. We just have like barely a minute, so I would like to ask you about the future. What are your challenges in this stage of the company, thinking for the next, like let's say, big leap?
I think we have many, but from a people perspective, I would say that we still want to attract and hire like many different talents, especially senior leadership. As we are growing, we are also looking for and seeking for external capabilities. So we need to focus on that. We need to also focus on having, again, the right organization set up to make sure that people can work easily. And I think that the third one is that startup is great because it allows you a lot of autonomy, agility, and like you can do basically whatever you want and so on. But when you scale, you have also to tackle this challenge on how can I make sure that this ownership can remain the main strength of the company. And so making sure that we're working on that is really important.
Okay. Thank you, and we are on time. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much, and happy to answer your questions if you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, both. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you, right on time.